All right. See what we got here. How's everyone doing today? About to get started in about 2 minutes. Okay. Let's edit. What is everyone trading today? What is everyone trading today? And let me know. All right. Let's set this up. Alrighty. Got this all organized. And we'll be able to get going. Boom. Perfect. All right, so the first thing that I like to do is bring the mic over here. And let me just turn off the sound on the YouTube here. All right. Just took that off. All right, so we're going to be taking a look at the charts for the MNQ and as well for the MES. The mini versions are the ES and as well as the NQ. We want to get a look at what the market is doing, right? So what I like to use, I'll turn on my spaceman here so we can get an idea of the levels that we're working with. All right, so the first thing I'm selecting, I want to make sure I have the daily level, right? So the previous day high, previous day low. And then I want to see what the range is for the beginning of the week, so for Monday. And then I want to see the weekly high and weekly low. And I always keep the yearly on and so on. So as we look at this chart, let's go on the bigger time frame so we can see on the 4 hour. And you can see from the Monday high, for this week so far, the market has been on a downtrend. Right? We've been downtrending. So we have these lower highs at the top here, and then we also have these lower lows, right? So that is confirmed. When we go down on our 1 hour chart, see? So now, ever since the sell-off that we had on Monday, you can kind of see that we have been ranging. Okay, so let's get rid of that now that we have that established. So we'll get rid of this, get rid of that. So now we've already confirmed the sell-off. What does the range look like? So we could see the previous day high, which when we look at Wednesday, right, we pretty much took out liquidity from Wednesday's highs on Thursday. So that's how we have this range established. We could also see that Monday low right there. See this Monday low? We could see this was a support level, right? And then the market is trying its best to get back up higher. So let's draw that out, because we have some touch points. I like to refer to the market and look at things as touch points, okay? And then we want to know, where do we see buying behavior? So from what we have seen from this week so far, buyers have come in at 29,300 and have moved the price up to 30,150. And then on Thursday, we could see we moved up to 30,231 and then came back into the same area and then came back into the midpoint of the range, right, from yesterday. So then we have this previous week low that is serving as resistance, which has pushed price down near the low from yesterday. So what are we looking for? We want to see if the market can break down below the previous day low, right? We want to see some confirmation that the market wants to go down further. We have the psychological level at 29,000 right there. So that is going to be a level that a lot of traders are going to watch. Okay? A lot of traders are going to be watching this 29K level. The chances of us getting down here are pretty high at this point. If we go back, and just to remind everyone, this is on a 1 hour chart. You can see there's a lot of action that goes on here because there's going to be a lot of orders waiting here at 29. So the market would like to take out that liquidity, and we have pushes down further. Will we get the continuation and breakdown under 29K for today? We're going to have to wait and see here. But if we do, then we have these targets all the way down here to the 28,700. And we could decide to go down further as well, as far as for the NASDAQ. So it is important for today. Just going to go on to 30 minute. As we see this closer, go on to the 15. If NASDAQ cannot hold above this previous day low and continue the range that we've been having since pretty much Tuesday after that Monday sell-off, then we're going to be into some trouble here. We're going to see some downside pressure if we can't break back above and retest this previous day mid, and then seeing if we can get above this previous week low. So those are the options. That is what is available. So if you have your trading plan, you have everything set up, just know if the market is trading underneath the low from yesterday, that means the market is comfortable seeing the market trade at lower prices, okay? So the key point right here is to see if we can get a break above the previous day mid and the previous week low for all of the bulls out there. The bears will be in control if we get 15-minute candles, 30-minute candle closes underneath this previous day low, okay? They will be in control when that New York session volume comes in. So now, what would you want to look at next? We're going to be looking at the MES. Let's take a look at the MES. All right. So we could see for the MES, very similar to the NASDAQ here, right? So the first thing, let's go on our 4 hour, see what's happening. What do we see? we see lower highs, right? We had a high here. We had a high here. You can just keep going down, but the highs are getting lower, okay? You can see that Monday high. And then let's take it down from the Monday low, right? So we can see clearly market is downtrending. That is clear as day. So we have that idea. The bears are in control as we consolidate inside this range, right? So let's go down to our 1 hour time frame, and then we're going to get rid of our lines here because, you know, I like to keep my charts clean. So you can see ever since that Monday sell off, we've been ranging on the ES as well. And then what do we have here? On the previous day high, you can see that we took out liquidity from Wednesday, right? Yesterday was Thursday. So we have that confirmed that sellers are in control at this level between 487 and 497. 7,500 is that big round number where ES would need to get there for us to see somewhat of a reversal of this bearish trend we're having. We have been going sideways, but it looks like right now on this Friday the market might be trying to make a decision. But of course, we got to wait till the market opens and see what it decides to do. But aside from that, we have clear confirmation. This has been the trouble at this just under 7,500 for the ES, right? Now, as far as for the buy, where the buyers have been showing up, we'll just clone that. Let's see. So for this week, where's that candle right there? Perfect. So there we have it here so far on the ES. Okay, so you can see on Tuesday, we had buyers defending this level between 422 and as well as 413. Okay, so Tuesday we came into this low, then we went up to 486. You can see on Wednesday we came into this low, and what happened? From 412 we moved up to 486. And then on Thursday we kind of consolidated going into the session. We rejected the previous high, which was pretty much on the Wednesday. And then we had this strong sell-off, as you can see down here. Let's go on to 30 minutes so you can see it even better. Let's do the 15 actually. So you see how we sold off? So those lows that we had that were holding for the past 2 days, over Tuesday and Wednesday, the market took it right out, and we made a new low just under the 7,400, right? Then the market came back up, and then we went up back up into the previous week low. That's what I was saying. We were doing a good amount of consolidation. But then now you could see what has happened now, especially when we reopened in the market yesterday, last night, we pushed down and extended the range even further to the point where we got to a low of 360. All right, bulls came in, defended it, the ES at 360, and now we're just trading around the previous day low. So very similar situation to the NASDAQ. If we can get, during the New York session, a move back down to the overnight lows, and we push down further, what is the next level we can get to? Because so far right now, the bears are in control. That is very clear by looking at this chart. So let's go back, right? What are some levels? So we can look here on the 1 hour. If the ES decides to take the 360, we have levels where we bounced from before, right? So as we went back, you could see this whole entire range is a range to watch. It is between 330 and the 360, okay? Because you see that overnight low that we put in? This was very similar to the move that we had last week Thursday, right? Last week Thursday, if you guys can't see that, right there. And that's at 340, okay? So instead of letting the market come down to 340 in the overnight, They picked it up at 360, and then they pushed it up more. So the chances of us getting another retest to these lows and then getting down to this 7,320, I think is very high probability that we could see a move like that. So somewhere between this range of 330, let's just call it 320 to 360 is going to be an interesting spot for the ES during this New York session. And if we take that level out, then the next area that we're talking about where we could come down to, would they want to do it on a Friday? That's a big question, right? But I think that 7,300 is going to prove as a psychological level, and as well over here at 7,260. Okay? Because we're looking at, okay, where do we have resistance points, right? Will they become support? And so on. We see that we have a swing point down here as well. So again, I would definitely be watching to see if the ES, let's go back on our 15-minute, is going to see more volume and more momentum pushing it down underneath the previous day low. The longer trades underneath the previous day low, the higher probability this is going to be a down day for the ES. And the only way for us to see, okay, well, you know what, maybe the market might be trying to pull a reversal, is that we need to get back up to the previous day mid, which is at 7,443, overcome all of the sellers that took control around this level, and then make a retest to the previous week low. Okay? Any pricing above the previous week low is showing a retest to the highs of the week, and then we want to see there's continuation maybe to the Monday low and so on. That is the bull case. But for now, the bears are in control. Now, let's take a look at the YM. MYM. All right, so we can see with the YM, interesting chart. Very, very interesting chart. We can see this week, we made all-time highs. Went up to 53,000, just under 100, right? 53,093. Broke the previous week high. And now, ever since we've opened up last night, we've been seeing some downside pressure. So as I look at this chart, let's go on our 4-hour time frame. And what we could see, again, aside from this move that we have, right, we have a market where it's looking to get back into balance. So an area that's perfect to get back into balance on the YM would be 52,000, right? That big whole psychological number right there. Let's go on to 1 hour. And I'll just get rid of these key levels just for a moment so I can show you guys something. So as you can see here, this 52,000 level, there's a lot of interest here. It's that big round number. If it decides to go under 52,000, then I'd be looking at 51,700, okay, for the Dow. You could also see that this is actually a gap up point. Look what we have right here. So on the Sunday evening, when the market reopened, let me just move that out of the way in case you guys can't see it. So you can see on the Sunday, and this was for June the 14th, we have this gap up, and then we have a gap down here at 51,663. We could see that gap has not been filled. So the question is the YM going to make somewhat of an effort to come in to fill this gap? Right? It tried to do it before, but no dice. But how do we know it's going to try to make that effort? So, well, I would watch this 52K, right? We already know Dow's reacting to psychological levels because it got rejected just below 53,100. Of course, take the stops out that we're at 53K, run it up a little bit more, and then bring it back down, right? Because, let's turn the levels on again. This was a previous week high. So when I see this just looked like a straight up liquidity grab yesterday. Because now look at where we are From 52,744's previous week high, we're now trading at 52,236, right? So we're talking about 500 points down. So can we go down another 200 points, or just over 200 points? Most definitely. So just like the NAS, just like the ES, and what's a base part of my key level strategy is, can we hold the previous day low on the Dow here, right? Is that previous day gonna hold? You can see even on this 15-minute chart, looks like we had some buyers that stepped in right underneath that previous day low, which is at 52,218. Right? We have the wick that came in at 52,190. So bulls are definitely trying to defend this 52,200 level, or right around the previous day low. If they can't defend it, if there's no success, then we could definitely get a sell back down, because as you can see, apart from this big move, you see this big move we had up here on Wednesday, right? We take that out, we're coming down to retest this 52K, okay? So that could be a good trading strategy, especially if you got 15-minute candles that are closing below the previous day low, looking for break and retest opportunities, and so on, okay? And if we take out that 52K level, then we could see a push down. We also have key levels down here as well. We have the previous week low, we have the Monday low. I said we do have that gap. Could we decide to fill that gap in today? That could happen, right? That's 500 points down if the market decides to be aggressive on the selling. But at the same time, in my personal opinion, I would like to see this 52K level hold, right? I would love to see it hold. I'd like to see the Dow get back up, get back above this Monday high, break above these other overnight levels, you know what I mean? And then what we do from there, make that push, see what we do at the previous day mid, right? Because we could safely assume that, hey, could the Dow be wanting to just protect the previous day low so it can make a move back up to the previous day mid and then make a decision? We'll have to wait and see, right? We'll have to wait and see. But so far right now, the Dow has been strong, all-time high from yesterday. Let's see if this is just a pullback for the continuation, or does this pullback for continued downward momentum, okay? All right. So we went over the NASDAQ, we went over the ES, and we went over the MYM. So now what we're going to do, let's take a look at, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's take a look at gold. Let's see what the gold chart is saying. All right, turn our key levels indicator on. Let's go on the 4-hour time frame. All right, so looking at this gold chart, we can see gold made pretty much made lows, right? Made some current year lows on Wednesday. And this was right around 3,981. Looks like a straight up liquidity grab, because we know 4,000 is a big key level for gold. Big key level, a lot of traders that are watching. So of course the market has to rotate underneath there to grab some stops, grab some liquidity if it's trying to make a move higher. One thing that I noticed right away on this 4-hour is that we have this reversal candle, right? We have this pin bar, bearish pin bar candle. Momentum is to the sell side, and then it got flipped over on this 4-hour, and now we're pushing up higher, right? So we also broke the previous day high as well. So let's go down on the 1-hour, get a better look. So target definitely would be that Monday low, right? So let's mark this right here. Why this Monday low is an area of interest, we could see it was a support level. See that? On June the 19th. So last week, Friday. This was a support level. Market came down here, and then look what happened. We moved up, came back into it again, and then pushed back up, right? And this is Sunday. And then look what happens. We sell, 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 sell. And then we come back into that area again, right? Right into that area, the Monday low. And then we sell down. So we could see, okay, sellers took control of an area where it was showing some support. And just looking at our 1 hour chart, is gold going to make another attempt? And this is at 4,140 to around 1,000, sorry, 4,150. So that is the big question here. We could definitely run into some turbulence here at 4,011.9 as well, because like I said, we had some rejection here right on this 1 hour candle, so there's going to be some friction here. So 4,100 to 4,111, these are areas you want to watch. These are areas of importance, okay, if you're trading on gold. So 30, 15. So we look at the 15. Let's take a look at the time. And so far, yeah, gold is on a decent uptrend. It's on a very, very decent uptrend. Let's see if it can move up another 30 points and see what it wants to do from there. The other question is, I'm looking at this chart. Is there any possible way that gold can reverse all of this and go down to the previous day low? I am not leaning towards that, right? I think we could see some momentum and gold gets back into range to closer to where it was during the midweek. So maybe around Wednesday or Tuesday and stuff like that. As you guys can see around this level here, it's pretty much trading above 4,100. But if it doesn't, I don't see us breaking down underneath the previous day lows. And let's look back to see what levels are even available. Yeah. Since I'm on the contract chart, yeah. You know, I think gold should be able to hold up. I think gold will hold up a little bit. I don't think we're going to take out the low from Wednesday. I think we might see a little bit of a push up. Since how we have some pressure on the equities, yeah. I think gold might see a little bit of momentum here. But again, watch that level at 4,100. Okay. So let's sum that up. So we went through the NQ, the ES, the MYM, and gold. And we made this quick, right? And you know what I just remembered? You guys will need to know, okay, where the buyers been showing up on gold. Look at that, right? That's the level right there. Why is this a level to watch? Is because, remember, we broke down between this key 4,000 level. We came back up into it, right? Previous day high rejection. And then during the overnight trading, we came back into this area. The low was at 3,997.9. So we still held that 4,000, and we've been on an uptrend ever since. So this is why, as far as for the buyers are concerned, if we come back down into this area, definitely an area to watch. But again, I'd like to see gold continue this uptrend, but if it doesn't, that's where you want to look out for it. And you want to look for 15-minute candles to be closing full body plus wick underneath this 3,993 if there's going to be more continuation to the downside for gold. Okay? All right. I don't need to do that right now. All right, so that sums it up. I hope everyone found this helpful. You always want to make sure that you have a plan before you go into the market and start trading. This is very important. This is very crucial for your success. And yeah, crush it. Have a good trading day.